Not much is visually happening on site, but that doesn't mean the boys haven't been hard at work. I'm building my dream home on this epic section, and we've just spent weeks putting these kind of brackets into this build. Let's take a look around and talk about everything to do with pre-wrap inspection. Previously, so roof ready up there, tick. Roof ready here, tick pretty much. Just working on the hidden gutter.
So we already know what wood we're having, but just trying to decide right now on the coating that goes on them. I think it's that one. We'll have to ask Josh.
Cracking, Sam. Yo, it's Monday, the 1st of December, and that means Christmas is coming. Rather than being like everyone else in construction and trying to do 200% work in December and then going into Christmas all burnt out, we're going to define what is achievable and what's enough and what's needed to be done, and then we're going to do it and we're going to have fun. I don't know if you saw Nicole get on the tools last week. Vote below if you want more Nicole Cam tool action.
Ollie actually taught me how to use a gun and I'm quite excited about it.
We're going for this one. One coat Weona, one coat clear. You know what's even cooler is that we went to the factory and watched that get run through the mill. We even got to see the head that cuts the board to make the shape it is. We got to see that get made. Let's give you a teaser of that right now. That's pretty exciting. Way more of that to come in a future video. For now, we just locked it in today, locked it in order. It'll be here before Christmas. By then we'll have a roof on. Right now we'll just get the high ab to crane it into the garage and then we'll move it around from there. Heads, shoulders, knees and toes. Last week you saw our apprentice putting blocks on this line here. That is actually a real bread and butter job of an apprentice. But you can see why it's important. Now, what I love is that you can see all his numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's block 15. That's a great example of take a bunch of measures, write them down, take the whole list to the cutting station, put them all in a container, bring them all back. Work smarter, not harder, folks. And part of that is thinking about your steps. And so I teach all my guys, do a loop. There's going to the saw station, so as you go over to the saw station, take the rubbish, pick up nails on your way. Think about what you need to get over there, do what you need to do there, then come back. Get that loop going. You can see it really taking shape. It's so cool. We have passed an inspection on 2 roofs and we've actually passed an inspection called a pre-wrap. You can see all of the brackets and all the components that tie it all together. Because as soon as we put roofing paper on here, things like the blue screws will disappear. As soon as we put either wrap or rab on the walls, things like these lintel straps that we have lovingly checked in so that they don't foul our rab will disappear. And so our friendly head of inspections here at Upper Hutt, John, swung by today. He's pleased with the progress. He's given us the green light to put on a roof and wrap the building. You know what that means? I'm pretty confident that by the time Christmas rolls around, this is going to be way more weather tight. Hey, if you're liking the series, go ahead and click subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it really does help us out. Plus it means you won't miss out on any of our future videos dropping every Saturday, 5 p.m. So this is Weatherline. Last time I used this was on one of the builds up in Akatarawa. What we love about it is that all our guys are tooled up to install plasterboard on the inside of the building, and this goes on the outside of the building and replaces paper. There's a rigid air barrier, so all of the seams will get taped, and it locks up our framing, which means that we can go and get rid of all these braces as well. It's kind of like how in North America you guys use the chipboard. This is a similar system. We can also use plywood, or we can use a fiber cement product, or you can go super traditional and paper your building. And I've done all of them, and there's different reasons you would use different products at different times. And I'm stoked that not only do we pass the inspection, but this is on site, because that unlocks another couple of weeks of work. But that work that we're about to do to put this skin on the building also unlocks a whole bunch of interior work, and that's where it starts to get fun. Like, that's where the build well and truly has a life of its own. It's so much more than just the timber and nails. Basically, every layer of the build needs to be connected to the other. And so you've watched us put the slab down, and you saw how much engineering went into that. That thing ain't going nowhere. Basically, you're chasing the weak point and making sure that you eliminate a weak point, and you're stitching the very top piece of timber on the roof to concrete, and all of the components of the frames are tied together. And so you saw us stand the frames and tack them in place. The next thing we can do is we go around and gun nail them once we're happy with that.
Firing.
But after we've gun nailed them, we also concrete screw them in as per the drawing. And on this side here, we have a jib brace hold down. Basically locks up from there to there, and that becomes a brace. Same either side of the window. So braces are important to stop your building going like this. And we've seen that in action as well. And believe it or not, the way that you screw the jib off, the amount of screws you put in it, and even the way you cut the holes in your jib affects the jib's ability to withstand those horizontal forces. Think earthquake.
That'll be the last one.
Last one?
Hopefully, yeah.
Nice.
There's always one that pops out that I made this, but yeah.
A least favourite piece of hardware to install?
The handy brackets.
The handy brackets?
Yeah. Well, no, I just get so many of them.
The next thing we're resisting is uplift. We're in a very high wind zone here, so it's over the top. But it's not windy all day, every day. It's kind of like it gusts through and then it dies down. We then tie the studs to the bottom plates. Usually we do that on the outside edge here with a nail plate. In this situation here, we're going to go through and put CPCs on anything that doesn't have a hold down after the rab is on. So the next weak point here is this lintel. So imagine this has got a huge amount of force in it where the wind wants to come in and push that up. Would it actually happen? I don't know, but we just follow the rules. So we put in what's called a lintel strap, which ties the lintel to the stud. The stud's tied to the plate's tied to the slab.
Before you start routering, make sure there's no nails in there because that will make the route a bit blunt, so they need to be punched in. And then this has got the speed on it here, Kieran. Oh yeah.
Haven't used Milwaukee.
Now that all of this is tied together, the next weak point is the stud to top plate connection. And you saw us go through and put in a bunch of Prida screws from the top. And those are called, I think from memory, stud locks. Now that our top plates are locked to our studs, we need to lock our bottom cord of our truss, the bottom cord is the piece of timber going that way, to our frame. And we know that our bottom cord is stitched to our trussing with these plates that are done in the factory, so the last piece of the connection is up there. Let's go and have a look. We were just one bay below us there, and we've established that the bottom cord of the truss is tied to the frame, and we know that the frame is sandwiched together. I saw that with my own eyes in the factory. And so the very, very last bit is these blue screws. This is the purlin. This is what the metal gets attached to. And the purlin runs perpendicular to the trusses. And then the iron runs perpendicular to the purlins. It's like a crisscross. And that gives it strength too. So we go through, tack it in place with the gun because it's fast. Once we know that's good to go, we go through and do all our purlin screws, and last but not least we need to do a roof strap.
Kieran, he's rearing to go. Am I?
Do you think I'll just bang it with my head?
Lean the nail this way a little bit so it pulls it.
Okay. Good?
Yeah. Hit it.
It's alright?
Yeah. See?
Up to your expertise.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Testicles away.
Yeah.
I don't want them on camera.
No, I don't either.
Why not?
It's not that kind of video.
What's your problem?
Usually you'll need to do at least one of these. They show up on the architect plans and they also form part of the bracing system that ties it all together.
So that hidden gutter has got a membrane going on it, and it needs to stay dry before the membrane installers, so he's just covering it because there's rain coming.
I think when I was first building homes, I was blown away by how many extra bits and pieces there are and how long we would spend doing all of those things. That's what the boys have been doing for the last couple of weeks. So when you're doing tedious jobs like that, it's real hard to make epic building vlogs of exciting stuff. So here we are talking about pre-wrap inspection, but that's my commitment to you, is that I'm going to deep dive every single step of the process. So by the end of it, you know exactly what's happening every step of the way with your build.
New cutting station.
Yep. Got the wrap or the cutting gather.
We are going to measure some jib weather line because some has to go on the spine wall before the guys can do their membrane on the hidden gutter. Grips. 770.
Let's just mark out our studs now too. Our studies, stud muffins. And then we know where we're screwing.
Hey, if you're running a construction business and want access to the checklist I use to keep all my builds running smoothly, check out the link below. I've learned the hard way and documented it so you don't have to. Remember, no matter how good you are, you're never too good for a checklist.
What actually makes it weatherproof?
Good question.
Wait, so why actually makes it waterproof?
Yeah, just keep working. I don't know, okay? I don't know everything.
We needed to dig some holes, and the digger was going to knock the camera down, so we had to take the camera down. So I'm going to put the camera back up. I'm using techies today. Let me get it. That there's a purlin bit. I believe it's a hex 5mm. It should fit in the Allen key.
And on top of all that, I just brought a new digger. Not this one. This one is the loaner that we get to use while we wait for the good one, the brand new one, to be delivered. Basically, I've worked out that the amount of times we're hiring a digger and throughout the year would pay one off. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely a time and a place for the hire equipment shops, and I have an account there and will still regularly use them. But just fulfilled a boyhood dream, Christmas present. So I worked out the digger payoff is about 30 days a year. Crazy, right? Not even once a week. And you've seen Nicole crack the whip. She just wants me to dig, dig, dig.
We just dig, and then just put it on the ground.
So babe, guess where you'll find me digging away? It's been a busy week. Wow, it's Monday. It's Monday and it already feels like a big week. I think the theme for this episode has been like to remember that just because you can't see something happening doesn't mean it's not important and doesn't mean it needs to be done. Now is the time to get all that stuff done properly. Honestly guys, I've really appreciated the support this year, and I'm coming into Christmas in a good spot, both personally, professionally, mentally, family-wise. Really looking forward to a break and just concentrating on the kids for a couple of weeks. So I'll leave you with that to think about what's your Christmas plan and how are you going to go into Christmas doing enough but not doing so much that you just run yourself ragged. Life's too short to get stressed out about dumb things.